1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in they Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the Hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters gon' move. Whatever click you choose, you better
Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down. Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Yeah, that's me gassing on the intro like I keep telling y'all. Do not get it twisted. My flow is nothing like Curtis Blow. If you want to check out more of my music, go to my YouTube playlist, scroll down to gas stations, and you will find a lot more of my music there. Now let's hop right up into this video. So yeah, you see the title. Why do gang members kill their own homies? And that's something that I definitely been hearing about more and more lately. When I first started hanging in the streets, right around the mid 80s, to the late 90s, that was something that was extremely frowned upon. Was one dude from the same gang killing another one of his homies over something that was small, a fist fight, another girl or something like that, right? And so, like I said, I've been out about 7 years, and I've been hearing this happen a lot in a lot of different hoods up and down California. By me doing a lot of time, I keep in contact with a lot of people who I was locked up with, and it just seems like that's something that's extremely much more prevalent in today's world. Like I said, back in my days, that was something that was extremely frowned upon and would definitely, at the least, get an individual ostracized from his hood and his neighborhood, right? So I was just thinking like, damn, why does it seem like this is occurring more and more and more? And I came up with a few possible reasons, right? And of course, when I started being out there in the streets, running around in the streets, getting caught up in gang activity, a lot of us still didn't necessarily consider ourselves in a gang. Reason being is because back in my time, those gangs were communities and neighborhoods. Some of the same people who I would join gangs with later on and do certain things, we had been hanging together literally all our lives since the age of 5, 6 years old, kindergarten, elementary school, so on and so forth. I had spent the night over their house. They had spent the night over my house. My mom and their mom and parents had been lifelong friends as well. And so we considered each other family. And so later on, once we did get to the age and the lifestyle when we was gang banging and you would have a disagreement with your homeboy, y'all would squabble up, boop, bop, boop, beep, bop, boop, bop, squabble up, and 15, 20 minutes later, you guys was friends. Never once did we think to kill another homie. Like I said, it was something that was extremely frowned upon, but it seems like today, it may be several reasons, right? Like I said, back in those days, we considered each other family. But nowadays, possibly when some of these gang wars have got much more serious, you have individuals nowadays who are more concerned with having numbers in their gang, and so they tend to let more people who are not necessarily known join the gang. Back when I started hanging in the streets, the individuals who was hanging out before me, the older homies, they wasn't just gonna let anybody come and hang out due to the fact that they knew they was out there doing things that was illegal and they was involved in illegal activities. So they had to see certain characteristics or certain attributes in an individual before he would even be invited into the fold and allowed to hang out. You had to be pretty much hood vetted. You know what I'm saying? They had to see things in you to make them think that you could quote unquote, be a solid gang member. Now, of course, we've always had gang members who didn't stand the test of time, but still in all, they still had to see something in you that made them feel that you could possibly be accepted, right? Like I said, I found out later on going to prison that even though some guys were from larger cities, their communities and neighborhoods were the same. They had grew up knowing each other all their lives. And so you may have dudes, older dudes, watching dudes, seeing him running around the neighborhood and doing this and doing that and just watching him for years, and making eventually they come to believe, okay, yeah, this dude, man, bring him around. He can hang out, or this other dude, no, don't bring this dude around, right? This dude can't cut it. And so when you are from the community, like I said, you are less likely once you do, if you do happen to get into it with somebody you have been knowing all your life, you're less likely if you guys get into it to want to beat this dude. I mean, after you guys get into it and somebody may beat somebody up, you are less likely to want to kill this dude or attempt to try to kill this dude due to the history that you guys have. You cool with his brother, his sister, his mother, so on and so forth, right? Another reason that I believe that may contribute to now why you have more dudes from same hoods killing their homies, right? When I was growing up, gangs and of course the gang ideology was nowhere near as prevalent as it is today. We were allowed to grow up to get a concept of what was wrong and what was right, and basically set our moral compass in a certain way that once we got of age to where we was starting to hang out in the streets, we realized, okay, this dude is more than a homie. This dude is really like family. And so now I believe that from a younger age, you have a sort of street mentality that's inundated or instilled in a lot of these young dudes. And before they even have the time to develop a conscience about right and wrong in regards to people around their community, they've already basically been indoctrinated with this gang mentality. And things are different nowadays. Back in my day, man, growing up, you had respect for your homeboy, and nowadays it's more you'll run across a lot of these dudes. I like to call it a run off on the plug mentality. And for those of you guys not familiar with that, I believe the rapper Plies had a song called Run Off on the Plug. And so basically the plug is the person with drugs, right? And you'll have some instances where the plug will front or give somebody some drugs on credit with the intention that this dude will sell the drugs back and bring him his portion. But nowadays you have dudes who they have no intentions of ever even paying the plug back. They plan to get whatever the plug is going to get them and run off and make the money and never even pay the plug, right? And so that's the mentality that you have now. Back in my days, it was called we used to call it, you be real to the streets will be real with you. So of course, if this dude is fronting me some drugs, to me it seems better to continue to make money with this dude in the long run, as opposed to running off with a few $100s and now I've messed up a good plug, and also I possibly have this dude looking for me. So now I'm constantly looking over my shoulder and I'm living a scandalous, dishonorable life, in the streets, right? And so when you have individuals who will take on that type of thinking, it just seems like the morals of gang members, if you will, has dropped significantly, right? And you have a lot of people who want to say, well, there is no honor among thieves, but I definitely can remember back to a time when it definitely was honor among thieves, especially your homeboys and people who you grew up with, right? But nowadays it seems like that is no longer, especially like I said, also with the influence of social media. You have a spotlight being shown on a lot of these gangs that wasn't necessarily there back in my era or the era before me, and so on and so forth. This gang life was really like a subculture, and you only had certain individuals involved in that subculture. Now, due to exposure of social media, a lot of these gangs, whether it be to rappers or gang members, have made their hood quote unquote famous. And so now you have potentially people who are not even from that neighborhood or from that community, but have heard about the gang. Now they're coming trying to join to be part of the fame, right? And so in the event later on, if they happen to get into it with one of their homies, someone who represents the same gang, a lot of them will have no qualms shooting or attempting to kill this dude because they really have no lifelong or personal connection to this dude. For those of you guys out there who who was never caught up in gang banging, and I have a lot of subscribers who is not even from the United States, right? So like I said, when you joined the gang, that was basically like your community. That wasn't like you just went off looking for, a gang to join. These were friends you had your whole entire life. And so now when you have dudes coming from outside of the community, but they are accepted into the fold because people now seem to be more concerned with quantity as opposed to the quality of an individual. You put on dudes who you don't necessarily know a whole lot about, and some of them can't be trusted. Some of them don't necessarily care. And then, like I say, mixed in with the mentality and the new ideology of the street, it's a deadly combination. Some people would like to argue that, excuse me, that the OGs and the older dudes have lost control of the youngsters, and this is why this is going on. Unfortunately, man, there have been some extremely reputable gang members from hoods all up and down California who have unfortunately lost their lives at the hands of their own homeboys, right? And so to me, it's like a phenomenon. This constantly seems to occur. But I'm looking at the situation like, well, damn, if it's cool for you to kill me and we claim the same gang, why are we even claiming the same gang? It just makes no sense. Like I said, man, I grew up in an era where killing your homeboy or even threatening your homeboy was an extreme, tremendous violation. And for even threatening to pull a gun on your homeboy, you would be DP, have the brakes beat up off you, much less even trying to pull out a gun or even attempting or shooting one of your homeboys. But it's an ugly situation, man. And also at the end of the day, why it seems like you have so many dudes getting into it and attempting to kill or trying to kill or shooting their own homeboys. The bottom line is a lot of these dudes is not willing to accept getting whooped, don't have a hand game, and they're unwilling to take a butt whooping. That's bottom line, man. I know my older uncle Andre, rest in peace, some of my older homies, they used to make a practice out of having me and our younger homies slap box, get out there and fight, you know what I'm saying, in order to learn hand-to-hand combat. And when I say we were used to having them do this, I'm talking about from the age of 5 or 6. I can literally remember when my Uncle Dre would have me in the back room before going to church at my grandma's, hitting his hands and showing me how to fight and stuff. And they all grew up boxing. And so it just seems like today you have so many gang members who are not willing to get out there and fight hand to hand, even they own homeboys. And so when they get whooped, their first thought is, I'm supposed to go and get a gun and kill this dude, whether he is homie or not. I'm not supposed to let this dude embarrass me, And so when I was growing up, like I said, man, that was an extreme no. Thinking about killing a homie over a girl or something like that, that was just something that was not allowed. That was something that was not accepted. You would get ostracized from the community, and that's at the least, because if you would kill me, you would kill somebody else. And so if you willing to take the life of someone that you guys are repping the same gang, it's like you are equal to the enemy. You know what I'm saying? So if me and my homie is hanging out, right, and some dudes come through there shooting and they shoot my homie or whatever, it's my obligation as a gang member to ride and get revenge for this dude. Me as well as the other homies who rep the hood, the other homies who are there, right? And so if I'm willing to put my life on the line for a homie, and then that homie is in turn willing to come back and attempting to try to kill me over a small altercation, once again, I say, man, why are we even repping the same hood? So, at the end of the day, man, I think that a lot of these dudes just cannot accept the humiliation that sometimes comes with being in the street. Being in a gang, violence is something that's condoned, And you will have times where gang members from the same hood happen to get into it, you know. And like I said, man, they supposed to squabble up and leave it at that. But a lot of these dudes don't want to be humiliated. They can't accept it. And the end result is going to get a gun, gunning down their homie, man. I don't understand it. But anyway, you already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to Life. Resume normal program.
I miss you. I don't wanna sit in silence. I miss you. Don't wanna sit in silence. Silence. Oh, oh no, no. Oh, 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 no. I miss you. I don't wanna sit in silence. I miss you.
When you died, so did a part of my heart. It hurt me to the point that I don't even know where to start. Literally tore me apart.